What is up, everybody? My name is John Anthony Chihak Soltero. I'm the anti-hero, and the anti-hero is back with the breakdown. I just want to say thank you. We've getting a decent amount of views on the last couple breakdown videos, and I'm trying to keep it to 10 minutes or less because I know, that's just like nobody wants to hear you rant for 30 minutes about an action figure that you didn't like. But I'm really enjoying doing these breakdown videos of action figures. So I'm going to continue the trend, and today's action figure is an AEW figure. Sorry, I don't have them in the package. I bought this a while ago. So this is Orange Cassidy, the king of sloth style. He is part of the AEW lineup. I'm a big fan of Orange Cassidy. I'm a big fan of Danhausen, RJ City. I'm starting to become a big fan of like comedy and wrestling and it not having to be super serious, but the wrestlers being able to be serious as the need arises. And Orange Cassidy is definitely one of those characters. He's the guy who he's too cool for school. He's always got his hands in his pockets. He does the little weak kicks to the shins and then goes back and does the super kick where he just taps your shin. It was a great match with him and Pac, where Pac went up for his Red Arrow twisting, it was like a twisting shooting star press, basically. And Orange Cassidy was like laid out, and then he just very slowly started rolling out of the ring. And so Pac gets down to meet him at that area, and he sees him and he starts rolling back to the other direction. Some of the stuff Orange Cassidy does is hilarious. A lot of the stuff he did on the indies where he'd actually fall asleep in the ring and like people would try to pin him while he was asleep, coming to the ring with a bottle of orange juice, and like that would be what would like his spinach, to gear him up and stuff like that. But I was really happy to know that they made an Orange Cassidy figure. I'm really looking forward to them making a Danhausen figure and some other of my favorites. Of course, the comedy has always been a part of wrestling, but really kind of came into vogue, into the forefront in the mid-aughts and late and early 2010s with Colt Cabana. Just doing a lot of fun stuff, imitating Dusty Rhodes, imitating the Junkyard Dog, and just having fun in the ring. And there was, those who said funny doesn't equal money, but he continued to have a presence on the independents, and then getting hired by AEW showed that there is a market for comedy in wrestling and having fun in wrestling. And Orange Cassidy continues that role, especially when the best friends are doing like a group promo and he just continues to stand there and not do anything. His lackadaisical thumbs up, half thumbs up is always appreciated. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this figure. First of all, the likeness of Orange Cassidy is great. The glasses are removable. They're pretty easily put back on his face. There you go. They don't readily fall off. So if you're posing him on your desk or your shelf, you're going to be good to go. Like I said, the likeness is pretty good. The eyes are a little bit misgiving, but he's usually wearing his shades, so it doesn't really matter. The hair is really good. The 3 days unkempt shaving is a nice touch. Of course, they got the mold for the thumb down just right. It's not a thumbs up. It's they did a great job with that. They have the hand, of course, that fits in the pocket of his pants. He's got a second pocket, and he comes with a second set of hands, but sadly, the other right hand is like a half fist, like the Kung Fu grip. So you're not putting that hand in his pocket. I'm kind of looking out for another hand that's just like the flat hand, so then I can give him both and he can just have his hands in his pockets. But the great thing about this is he comes with another hand, so it's not just a thumbs up. And they're the hands that can interlock, so he can do some grapples. The nice thing about this figure is he comes with the Best Friends shirt, and he comes with his classic denim jacket. Jacket and shirt are removable. It's all put together as one piece. So he can get into or out of his entrance gear and into his ring gear. Now, you'll notice something is missing from Mr. Cassidy, but they included the elbow pad. So you can get his elbow pad on him as well. Got to take off the hand because it is an arm pad, an elbow pad. It's a little bit smaller, but now that he's ready to fight, we're going to get rid of the thumb. We're going to get rid of the pocket hand, I don't know. And we're going to give him his ready to grapple. Look, the build is really great. They did a great job of not reusing a lot of the other molds, so he's not super jacked. Orange Cassidy's probably about $175, $185. So he's not going to be a super huge dude, right? The detail on the pants is really, really nice. Of course, you got the pockets. You got the creases and the folds. You got the tears in the knees where his knee pads are coming through. And then you've got his, I don't know what to say about his shoes. They're kind of like weightlifting shoes. They're not really like wrestling shoes, but they're not sneakers either. But the detail on them is really, really well done, where you see the rubber of the soles, and then you get the laces in there as well. So those are all the positives of this figure. What are some of the negatives? Well, the biggest negative of this figure, aside from him not having a second pocket hand, are the pants themselves. These pants, while the twisty above the knee and down is all the molded plastic, the thighs up to the waist is actually rubber. And while that looks good and it matches the plastic of the lower leg pretty well, and allows you to have the pockets, the downside is he can't pose his legs. So he's not a statue per se, but you can't have him doing his flying orange crush punch. They call it the orange punch. I think it would have been better, $1 million idea, the orange crush. Maybe that's like his Stinger Splash is the orange crush. That would work too. Maybe you can even get a sponsorship with Orange Crush. But those are the two negatives with this figure. I mean, I'd love to be able to have him with both hands in his pockets. I would also like, if you were going to go the route of not having the ability to like move and pose him at the hips. I mean, you can move them a little bit, but they're not really going to stay. This kind of reminds me of the Sabu figure from TNA, where he had the rubber pants and they were big and baggy and they fit around his legs, but you couldn't really do anything with him pose-wise. I would have appreciated one of two things. You either, do like a cloth type pant, which might have been a lot to do, and that also becomes one of those things where like, well, what do you do underneath? Do you like paint his legs so that they look blue so people aren't taking his pants off or whatever? I don't know. What was I saying? Okay, so you could have done the cloth pants, right? Or you could have molded everything on the legs and then just put an applique for his pockets. Not like a sticker, but do like almost a belt, because you could have cut like a belt type area, and then you could have also had his ability to stick his hands in his pockets. Also, if you're going to go this far and you're going to have the molded pants, the drawstring would have been a nice addition. You don't really get that. You get a seam down the middle. Those are really the only complaints about this figure, but they're kind of considerable considering that he puts both of his hands in his pockets, so that's an important thing. And if you're not going to give that conciliation on the pants themselves in giving him very limited mobility, granted, this is more money for them to produce. They could have just molded the legs all the way up with the jump pants, and then you couldn't put his hands in his pockets, but still. it would have been a little bit more cohesive to me. I still love this figure because I love the character, and he's one of the earlier AEW figures that I got. I've been picking up more and more. But this is a really, really fun figure. The joints on his turn here are a little bit loose just above the knee, but this is also where the rubber of the upper leg pants kind of comes to an end. Overall, great figure. I do, and this is based on my own likes and dislikes and my own picks for the figure. The lack of the second pocket hand is going to cost him some points on the Meltzer scale. And then the inability to pose him with the rubber on the pants is going to cost some points too. So I give this figure, Orange Cassidy, 4.25 stars on the Meltzer scale of 5.0 stars. You know, I was actually thinking more along the lines of 4 stars, but looking at the figure up close again, him not just being on the shelf and having the extra elbow pad, you know, as an addition and not just something that's molded or painted on. The other thing about this is I tried putting this on with the elbow pad on, doesn't work. So you actually got to take the elbow pad off, which goes along with the character because he doesn't wear the elbow pad to the ring. It's tucked in his back pocket. So it's kind of a nice addition and a nice continuation of this figure. So yeah, I'm bumping him up a little bit from 4 stars to 4.25 stars, just given the amount of detail that goes into this, and realizing that putting the rubber on the upper legs is actually an extra cost that they associate with it, and it blends pretty well. Of course, the rubber of the upper pants is like a matte rubber, and then the lower leg is shiny, like it's gloss. So that's kind of a takeaway, but if you're looking at this figure from across the room or 5 or 10 feet away or what have you, it's an awesome figure. Upper body is superposable. You know, he's got the double joints in the knees, double joints in the elbows, which I love. So you can get some of those like high action poses with him. Yeah, 4.25 stars for Orange Cassidy, the King of Sloth style. I am putting in the description now a link to my Ko-Fi. I'm not going to do this on Patreon where I do like all this extra stuff because this is not my main bread and butter. I have a day job working on my design portfolio because I would like to get into the design field by the time my 45th birthday is later this year. So that's my goal, but I still want to make these videos because I do enjoy making content, breaking down action figures, movies, and comic books. If there's something you'd like to see, I do ask that you comment, let me know. And if you can, drop by that Ko-Fi link, throw me a couple bucks. It will help out immensely. Like and subscribe, share, what have you, the same rigmarole everybody else tells you to do here on YouTube, or don't. Because whatever, wherever. But you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and please use this new time in the new year to practice some self-care, doing some things for yourself, and being good to yourselves. Talk to you later.